The Supreme Court's recent decisions in Rogelio Garral Mendaros, et al. V. Lazada e-Services Philippines Incorporated, GR number 257821, and Rico B. Escoriaga, et al. V. Fitness First Philippines Incorporated and Liberty Cruise, GR number 266552, provide significant insights into the classification of workers as regular employees versus independent contractors in the Philippines. #O #Labor Law #SYLLABUS. Balance scale defining employer-employee relationship. Determination of an employer-employee relationship in Philippine labor law primarily relies on the fourfold test, which considers 1. Selection and engagement of the worker. 2. Payment of wages. 3. Power of dismissal, and 4. Power to control the worker's conduct, particularly the means and methods by which the work is accomplished. Among these, the control test is the most crucial. If the employer controls not just the result but also the means and methods of the work, an employer-employee relationship likely exists. #129489, Balance Scale Escoriaga vs. Fitness First, GR number 266552. In this case, the petitioners were engaged as freelance personal trainers by Fitness First Philippines Incorporated. They argued that despite their designation as freelancers, they were effectively regular employees due to the nature of their work and the control exercised by the company. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of the petitioners, stating that the company exercised significant control over the trainers' work schedules, client assignments, and performance standards. Trainers were integral to the company's business, indicating economic dependence. The existence of a freelance agreement did not negate the actual working conditions that pointed to an employer-employee relationship. As a result, the court declared the petitioners as regular employees and ordered their reinstatement with full back wages and benefits. #128230, Mendaros vs. Lazada, GR number 257821. While the specific details of this case are not provided in the search results, it similarly addresses the classification of workers, in this instance, delivery riders associated with an online selling platform. Key issue revolves around whether these riders are independent contractors or regular employees, considering factors such as control over work, economic dependence, and integration into the company's business. #129513, Conclusion. Contractual labels are not determinative. The designation of a worker as a freelancer or independent contractor in a contract does not conclusively establish the nature of the working relationship. The actual circumstances and the degree of control exercised by the company are more telling. Economic dependence matters. Workers who are economically dependent on a company and perform tasks integral to its business are more likely to be considered regular employees. Legal protections apply. Regular employees are entitled to labor protections, including security of tenure, minimum wage, and benefits. This classification can lead to legal consequences for employers. Credit to. For a more in-depth discussion on these cases and their implications, you can listen to the Supreme Court podcast episode featuring Undersecretary Filemon Ray Javier. #127911, Spotify, Supreme Court podcast episode. #128196, Lawful, Escoriaga vs. Fitness First decision.